Yo, how's it going guys? Dubes here. So today I'm going to do a video on another advanced scratch, which is the Prizm. Prizm, in my eyes, is probably the hardest scratch, or one of the hardest scratches you can do. It kind of incorporates clicks and tears and makes you do them all at once. And it's pretty difficult to get down. Even myself, I haven't quite got them nailed. But why they're really good to learn is because they incorporate a lot of other scratches. It's actually just an OG flare with a tear in it, followed by a reverse OG flare with a tear in it. That's the way my brain breaks them down. I mean, I think other people maybe think of them differently, but that's the way I'm going to teach it, and that's the way I recommend you learn it. In learning these, if you haven't got those two scratches down, you're going to get two new scratches that you learn to incorporate into your cuts, and it also helps with kind of figuring out how to get your clicks in time with your tears, which it's quite a difficult thing to learn. Like before I started learning these type of scratches, I just couldn't do it. I was really bad at actually making it work, basically just getting those two things to like the coordination down. Since learning this scratch now, I can just chuck those clicks over the tears wherever I want, and it's just way more natural. So yeah, Prizms, you may not necessarily get the kind of the end of the scratch perfectly just yet. It takes a long time. But even by learning that, you're going to learn a lot of new things and a lot of new avenues open up. So yeah, let's get into it. So yeah, let's do a quick recap. So Prizms are basically this. It's basically, the way I see it is, it's an OG flare with a tear in it, followed by a reverse OG flare with a tear in it. So yeah, I'm just going to go through the evolution of how I learnt it. So, OG flares. Fader open. The first part of a chirp, I guess, or like a sort of transform, and then fader closed as you stop the record, and then you pull back together. So it's two forward, one back, and the key to them is getting the ghost click. So you've got open fader, and the key is to get it so as you've done the first two sounds, that has to be closed, and then you pull them back at the same time. So then, after that, you learn the reverse of that. So you get the pull back together. So that's weird, I actually just realised I start with that closed and then go pull back. So it's one sound on the pullback and then two on the forwards, and you're still only doing two clicks on the fader. That's the key. It makes it more efficient. It's like a ghost click. That's forwards and backwards. So we get into on the way to a Prizm now. The next thing I learned was to put a tear in as I'm doing the click. It seems like the same movement, and it just seemed to come naturally to me. I think reverse OG flares are easier, so I'm going to show you how to do those first, and then you just reverse it. So I'll show you what that sounds like. It's one of those scratches which is easier to do faster than slower, but it's basically just... So you can see how that actually all correlates together. So as you're doing the click, you're also pausing with the record. And that's why I think it's easy, because you're essentially, if you look at my hands, they're essentially going like this. Da, 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 da. They're basically doing it together. It's like matched up in time. That's why it's an easy scratch for me personally to do. So practice that until you can get it. Like, you kind of get this kind of weird like flicky sound, and it just sounds kind of like, I guess you could say it's got kind of a bubbly sound. After that, you learn the OG flare forwards with the tear. Again, you're doing everything at the same time. It's that you're pushing do, 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 do. That one's much harder to do for me personally. This is the first scratch where I really first started combining tears with clicks, and that's why I think it's a super important scratch to learn. And because they go together at the same time, it makes learning them much more accessible than, say, just doing a 2-click flare and putting a tear underneath it, which is super unnatural to do because the timing is completely different. So yeah, this is why it's like OG flares are sort of a gateway drug, and learning prisms is kind of the end goal. But like just learning OG flares or reverse OG flares in and of themselves is super useful. Right, so like, I'll show you the prism. You basically just put them together. You mirror them. So it goes. So that's like reverse OG flare with a tear, and then forward OG flare with a tear. So yeah, you get 6 sounds in total, and it kind of, the more you tear it, the more you get the kind of the essence of the prism, which is the sort of wavy sound. I've started like doing this kind of tear now, the sort of bumpy knuckles tear, or the flick, or whatever you want to call it, and it makes doing them faster, easier, but you know, that's just more of an advanced technique. If you haven't got those down, don't worry about it, just do normal tears like. So yeah, without the fader it sounds like that. It's 6 sounds. I actually find it easier with the fader because I've just practiced it with it. Most people will teach you that movement and then put the fader movement over it on top, but I think it's actually easier to learn them together, because then your hands are moving together constantly. Yeah, let's do some with the beat. I haven't got them to chilly levels of speed yet. I don't really practice scratching that much anymore, but these videos seem to get the most likes and shit on my YouTube, so I'm busting some more out. Yeah, that is my way of thinking of prisms and OG flares and reverse OG flares, and hopefully they will help you learn them too and get you on the road to learning some new scratches.